I'm not a beach person. I went down there on like kind of this professional thing, a wife's colleague, and so I don't like when it's hot or if there's sand or if people are happy. I was on the phone with the embassy. I was on the phone with the airlines. I was walking around. I was with security. I went to the police station in Turks and Caicos. It turned out to be this incredible experience.
I don't think I've ever said this to a guest, but since the last time you were on our show, you've donated a kidney.
I play a robot that's assessing Earth to try to maybe take over Earth, but at the same time, you might think he's like just a guy in a bad robot costume.
Jesse Eisenberg hates the beach. He hates the heat, he hates sand, and in his own words, he doesn't love it when people around him are happy.
I'm not a beach person. I went down there on like kind of this professional thing, a wife's colleague, and so I don't like when it's hot or if there's sand or if people are happy, and so.
So when he went on a tropical vacation to Turks and Caicos, you'd think it'd be his personal nightmare. Instead, it turned into one of the best stories he's ever told on late-night TV. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this guy is honestly one of the most surprisingly wholesome people in Hollywood right now. Before we get to the passport chaos, Jesse opened up about something a little closer to home: basketball.
So I love basketball, but I feel too guilty like choosing one team, because I feel like, what about the other team,
You feel bad for the other
team. And so the way I would root for teams was like this very convoluted thing that I came up with when I was younger, which was just basically like, I root for the team whose city needs it the most.
As a lifelong New Yorker, he's been swept up in Knicks fever, and he explained why it feels so different this time. Growing up in New Jersey in the 90s, the Knicks were the dominant team, the one everyone in his home state resented because, frankly, New York always seemed more exciting. But now, he says it feels like New York is finally the underdog, the Cinderella story.
And so it was always kind of like hard to root for the Knicks, as a New Jerseyite,
Yeah.
And the Nets weren't great. And so now it's like, this is like America's team. Finally, we are like the Cinderella story,
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
How New York can be an underdog.
Exactly.
And that hit different for him. He even revealed his own bizarre system for choosing who to root for in sports. He doesn't pick a favorite team. He picks the team whose city needs it more. New York, he joked, already has Broadway, has everything. Does it really need a championship too? Meanwhile, a city like Oklahoma City, that's the team's whole identity. So that's usually who he's rooting for. Except this year, he's letting New York have its moment. Now here's where it gets good. Jesse admitted something pretty relatable. He's just not a beach person. Heat, sand, happy people around him. Not his vibe. He went down to Turks and Caicos for what was basically a professional obligation tied to his wife's colleague. And on day 2, he lost his passport.
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to talk to you about the story I heard about. You were in Turks and Caicos.
That's right.
And you got stuck there because you lost your passport.
Yes. Yes.
And I have a picture of you actually from.
Oh, really?
You're
Yes.
standing by a pool.
Yeah.
Looks like you're having a blast.
Yeah.
Looks like you're having a blast.
Well, they told me to smile.
And instead of panicking, Jesse says this was the best part of the entire trip, because suddenly he had a task. He was on the phone with the embassy, on the phone with airlines, walking around with hotel security. He even went to the actual police station in Turks and Caicos to file a report.
And then it was amazing, because then I had a task. I was on the phone with the embassy. I was on the phone with the airlines. I was walking around. I was with security. I went to the police station in Turks and Caicos. It turned out to be this incredible experience,
For most people, that sounds like a vacation ruined. For Jesse, it was the most engaged he'd felt the whole trip. He even canceled the passport completely with the embassy, reported it fully lost. Then he gets to the airport to fly home, and the staff just casually says,
Reported my passport is lost, right? And then I got to the airport, and they say, right this way, and of course we have your passport. And I was like, wait, how did you get it? And they were like, somebody brought it here. And I was like, I just canceled it. I
Didn't think to check the airport.
didn't think to check the airport. Yeah.
He was so wrapped up in the drama of dealing with the embassy that it never even occurred to him to just check the airport. But then the conversation shifted into something nobody saw coming. Since his last appearance on the show, Jesse Eisenberg donated a kidney, not to a family member, not to a friend, to a complete stranger he had never met.
I don't think I've ever said this to a guest, but since the last time you were on our show, you've donated a kidney.
Yeah.
And this is amazing.
Thank you.
And what's wild is how he talks about it. Not like some grand heroic sacrifice, but like something almost anyone could do. He described the process as basically pain-free for him.
Well, I learned about this, and this is just like something anybody could do. Like, it's For me, pain-free. It was quick. They compensate you if you have to miss work to get the surgery. You live what they say, you live a longer life because they put you through such a battery of tests before you donate that you end up living, like they say, longer than your non-donor peers because, you have to be so healthy to do it. And so I live a perfectly normal life. My other kidney is growing, and somebody else, who was on dialysis or dying, is able to have a real life now.
And pointed out that donors are compensated if they need to miss work for the surgery. He even mentioned research suggesting kidney donors statistically live longer than non-donors because of the extensive battery of health tests you have to pass just to qualify to donate in the first place. His remaining kidney has grown to compensate. He lives a completely normal life, and somewhere out there, a person who was on dialysis and someone who was dying now gets to live a real life because of him. It's the kind of moment that makes a comedy talk show suddenly feel a lot more meaningful.
That's an amazing thing that you did.
Thank you.
I love you did it. Very generous.
Oh, thanks.
From there, the conversation lightened back up with Jesse's new movie, Minions and Monsters from Illumination. He revealed he'd just come off a press tour for directing a completely different film.
I had just been on like a press tour for directing a movie and everything, and they were like, this is about like the history of filmmaking. And so this movie is this really clever, like if you're an adult and interested in like the history of film, it's this really incredible movie that has all these funny like allusions to old Hollywood. It's about when the talkies came into Hollywood, so and the Minions are trying to make their own movie. It's so clever and so creative, but if you're a kid, it's just a really funny.
So when this offer came in, the concept hooked him immediately. The movie is secretly a clever tribute to the history of filmmaking, set during the transition to talkies in old Hollywood. For adults who love film history, there are layers of jokes built in. For kids, it's just a fun, silly, sweet movie about minions trying to make their own film. Jesse voices a character named Dort, a robot sent to assess Earth, possibly to take it over. But there's a twist. Depending on how you look at him, Dort could just be read as a nervous guy in a bad robot costume. Jesse said playing both the secretly evil and secretly sweet sides of that character at once was part of what made the role fun.
I play a robot that's assessing Earth to try to maybe take over Earth, but at the same time, you might think he's like just a guy in a bad robot costume. And so I'm both like this kind of evil robot, but also maybe kind of like the sweet, nervous guy.
And just before wrapping up, Jesse pulled out a surprise of his own, a giant bucket of popcorn for the audience, joking it was just in case. The movie clip ran long. It's a small moment.
Greetings, I am Dort.
But it kind of sums up his whole appearance, equal parts goofy, thoughtful, and unexpectedly generous. So here's a guy who turned a lost passport into the highlight of his vacation, gave away an organ to a stranger without making a big deal out of it, and is now playing a lovably awkward robot in a kid's movie. If that's not a strange and wonderful combination, I don't know what is. Minions and Monsters hits theaters July 1st.